Hi friends. If you click to check out the new release from McGrath Labs, Celestial Divinity Mothership Mega, then please keep on watching. Hi, my name's Alicia. If it's your first time here, thank you so much for clicking on my video. And if you are returning, well, thank you for visiting me again. KINKYSWEAT stands for my kinky hair and sweat life. I'm a fitness professional who loves things all movement and beauty. If you want to check out what I do in between the makeup, so you can head over to my Instagram. Today we'll be going over the Celestial Divinity palette. I already have a live on my channel where I go into several points. I go into about me receiving PR, about how there are repeat shades in here and how people feel about it, how I feel about it. I want this video to just be for inspiration. If you want to see the swatches, if you want some ideas, maybe you're not looking to pick up the palette and you have similar shades that exist in the palette and you want to revamp your eye makeup routine in terms of using those shades, right? I want to make this presentation as neutral as possible because as you see in the background, I got my, pointing there, Divine Rose poster, so I'm a huge Pat McGrath fan. If you feel uncomfortable with that, I totally understand. I have a lot of Pat McGrath videos on my channel. I admire her artistic genius. I'm a big fan of her work. So when I saw that she came out with this 18 pan palette at this price point, I was very excited. And yes, they do have the limited edition, at the time, limited edition shades that were included in the Star Wars palette. Yes, the shades were limited edition, but I think more so the packaging was limited edition. It could be because of the agreement between the Star Wars franchise and Pat McGrath Labs in terms of what she was able to do. So even though she was unable to bring back the packaging, she was then able to bring back the shades in addition to 6 new ones in this year's holiday offering. This palette right now is available on patmcgrathlabs.com, but it appears that it might be available on Sephora soon. So we'll keep an eye out for that. In addition to the 18 pan Mothership Mega, she has 3 holiday quads that I believe feature all new shades, a powder highlighter that we're all highly anticipating, as well as 2 limited edition lipstick shades in limited edition packaging and 3 existing shades in holiday limited edition packaging, and other holiday mini kits that might be exclusive to Sephora or to Pat McGrath's. Who know? We'll get a better idea when all these items are released. I purchased Celestial Divinity off patmcgrathlabs.com. I think it was September 25th if I'm not mistaken. This retails for $78. The total net weight, we're looking at 19.8 grams of product, or 0.69 ounces, which equals to around 1.1 grams per pan. We are looking at a suggested shelf life of 12 months, and it says here it's made in the USA of US and imported ingredients. The imported ingredients, I think, was introduced with her. It might have been Golden Opulence or even Star Wars. It could be because of what's going on in the world. There's a shortage in resources and materials. Maybe this happened pre-quarantine. So people are concerned that the ingredients in here are not from Italy or not from the US. They might be from China. That information is not disclosed here. So if you feel uncomfortable with that, then it's an easy no for you with this palette. You know we gotta read this description. Prepare for an eye extravaganza. Very nice. With Pat McGrath's first ever Mothership Mega palette starring a treasure trove of 18 seductive shades with this alluring array of glitter, shimmer, matte, and iridescent shadows, you're ready to embark on infinite eye fantasies ranging from the subliminal to the sublime to the subversive. Let makeup majoreness ensue with 12 cult classic pigments directly from the lab's vault. Vivid purples, glamorous greens, and mesmerizing metallics, along with 6 never before slayed hue. So she refers to the Star Wars shades when she says the lab's vault. So technically she does disclose that these are re-promotes. I believe she also mentioned that, or her team, whoever is responsible for IG captions, when she released a sneak peek of this palette along with the reveal. Creamy, soft textures ignite metallic pearlized pigments, extreme blendability, adherence without creasing, polished and bright multi-dimensional finish, one stroke velvety matte intensity. Okay, in terms of the palette construction, it does come in the box that features the same design of the actual palette. It is cardboard, and you have the same design here with a magnetic flap and you have the ribbons to hold the mirror upright on this angle so it does not go all the way back. Here you have a very huge size mirror, and I think it very nice that it stands up on its own with the ribbon construction. You have the palette names on the back on the actual palette, so you do not need to save the box. I'm sorry that they're not here on the actual palette frame, but you know, we'll put our memory to work, it's okay. These are the Dark Galaxy shades that are featured here in the Dark Galaxy Star Wars palette. Here we have Galactic Gold, which features the shades from this limited edition Star Wars palette. And here in the center we have the 6 new shades. Major Mahogany, a warm mahogany matte. Lunar Champagne, warm champagne shimmer. Fuchsia Shock, a fuchsia purple shimmer. Megabyte, a deepened khaki green shimmer. Dragonfly, duochrome with a warm gold metallic and blue-green flash. Venusian Orchid, Venetian, I'm so sorry. Matte mid-tone pink. So these are the new shades from Celestial Divinity. And I have to say, oh, I think I dislodged the ribbons. Oh, I dislodged the ribbon. I'm too rough. It's flat now though. I already have swatches from my old Star Wars videos. If you want to quickly see these, I feel they're very consistent with the formula in my Star Wars palettes. This is Saturnalia from Dark Galaxy, Bronze Nebula. If you want to check out Venomous Void, I'm gonna get a nice swatch here because the pan is smaller. So here it is from Celestial Divinity. That is the color. And we can go to the Venomous Void from the Dark Galaxy palette, and we'll take a swatch here, see how that looks next to the one from Celestial Divinity. So it seems that the one from Star Wars is a little smoother, whereas the one from Celestial Divinity has some inconsistency here. I'm still curious to see how it performs on the eyes because the Major Mahogany swatch is very nice, or it could just be where I placed it on my wrist. This color in general, I feel not only with Pat McGrath, but with a lot of other brands, very tough to formulate. I actually apply Venomous Void on the outer corner of my eye. That's how I prefer to utilize deeper mattes from Pat because they have a lot of pigment. So we'll experiment with that today using the new Venetian Orchid shade. We also have Odyssey, which is one of my most favorite shades from Pat. If you want to check out what Odyssey looks like from the old palettes, they both have a lot of texture to them, so you really have to press it into the skin to make sure that those pigments adhere. We have Cosmic, which is one of the most beautiful topper shades, so gorgeous. And then of course we have Smoked Amethyst, which exists in Metropolis, Metamorphosis, excuse me. Metropolis is a shade from Dark Star. From Metamorphosis, the 2018 holiday release. This is one of my favorite shades ever, so I'm happy it's in here. If you didn't have an opportunity to grab the Star Wars shades when they first released, well, you got them in the 18 pan. From Galactic Gold, we have Violet Void. This color is just magnificent. I think very consistent from the original Galactic Gold. Excuse me, the noise on the road today, fam. So here's from the original Galactic Gold. I think those are pretty much the same. We have Gold Standard, which exists now not only in Decadence, but in Metamorphosis, as well as the original Star Wars palette. We have Bronze that also exists in the, I believe is Metamorphosis as well, from Holiday 2018. Electron, which is a beautiful duochrome shade. If you want to take a look at any of those from Galactic Gold, we have Electron here from the original palette. So I think that's pretty consistent. And we also have Bronze here from the original palette. And of course we have Gold Standard that I know we all just love so much. And of course Corruption, which exists not only in Bronze Temptation Holiday 2018, but in her Small Subversive mini palette. This is actually Corruption from the original Galactic Gold. And let's now swatch the new Corruption. Ooh. I think those are pretty the same. This is such an interesting duochrome. It's like I love it. It's one of the best. And excuse me, I'm forgetting the very best shade out of this palette, Galactic Gold. This is the one from the original. And I'll quickly swatch the one from Celestial Divinity. Shink. So those are the shades there. I believe they are the same in terms of color and consistency. So the only inconsistency I feel exists in the Venomous Void shade, which again is tricky to begin with, but I'm going to apply it in a way that I think will be easier than trying to blend it into your crease. We're going to do the tap tap. I think the tap tap works quite nicely. If you're wondering what I have on my eyes for this video, I have Megabyte with Major Mahogany, and in the b-roll here I applied Megabyte on my lid with my fingertip. You see it has a lot of texture and it will end up in your crease, especially when I took Major Mahogany in very lightly because I wanted this to stay a little daily friendly, a little more daily friendly. And because of where I placed Megabyte and just because of the nature of the shadow, the texture mixed with the matte and ended up on my crease. But I didn't mind it because when I wore it for an hour or two, it just kind of melted into my skin, and the dazzle effect I thought was beautiful. I like how the shimmer kind of traveled up through my crease and my whole eyelid just had this beautiful reflectivity that I feel is just gorgeous from Megabyte. So yes, I think Megabyte is one of these shades in the palette that has, you gotta work, you gotta press, you can't, I feel it won't be successful when you apply it with a brush. You're gonna get a lot of fallout. I even still got fallout with a finger application. So if you want to use Megabyte, I would then do the eyes first and makeup after. If you insist on having your face makeup on before you go in with the eyes, then have some powder underneath, or just get ready to have some sparkle under your eyes. I mean, I surrendered to that. So those are the product details, those are the swatches. I even showed you a little demo, but now getting into the live actual demo, why don't we come in a little closer? That's enough. All right, took what I had on off, applied my Hourglass eye primer, it kind of just rejuvenated my concealer and my cheek products. I want to create different looks than what I did in my live video as well as my Star Wars videos. So let's go in with Venetian Orchid first, pulling that through with my Isam G35. This is how I started my look on the live, but I went in with Major Mahogany on the outer part of my lid. I want to now go in with Venomous Void. I really love the tone of this matte. It's more of like a muted rose, but on the cooler side of things, whereas Peach Dusk, I think from Rose Decadence, is more coral. Oh, by the way, I will dedicate a whole live just to comparing the Pat McGrath colors within her own collection to this palette, because if I were to do comparisons in this video, it would just be too long. It will be too long and I wouldn't want to edit it. Venomous Void, Tuckahoe B142, and I'll tap that on the outer V. I'm tapping because this shade, as you saw, could be a little funny. I'm not giving it an opportunity to do funny things, okay? I'll have better control if I'll tap first and then diffuse for the blend. And I think that's a beautiful transition from that muted rose to that deeper magenta matte. Taking a little bit of the Hourglass primer, like very much leftovers, and tapping that, you know, haphazardly on the lid, not creating a sharp crease line. I just want a little more stick for the next shimmer metallic I decided to apply on my lid. In the live, I applied Fuchsia Shock. I think I want to do Fuchsia Shock again. I know, it's just, the color's so beautiful. My Smith 256 with Fuchsia Shock, and it is so lovely. It has a beautiful iridescent shift to it. Pat to pull that through the crease and just drape it over Venomous Void and bring it up in toward Venetian Orchid. It's crazy how it looks more violet blue leaning on camera, but it looks vibrantly more fuchsia in person. It's not doing it justice, let me tell you. I want to go in with Dragonfly on the inner corner. I think that would be such a beautiful pairing. Tapping Dragonfly over Fuchsia Shock. I'm going in with my finger because I want, there it is. I want more stick, and look how that just Woo! Well, that's fun. Taking a little more Fuchsia Shock over those edges. Tapping on some Venomous Void. I think I want to do Corruption on the lower lash line. Corruption is that beautiful, like, maroon gold duochrome from Galactic, the Galactic gold side. I messed up a little bit. Oops, oops. This brush might be a little too fluffy for my lower lash line, but it's all good. I don't mind for a little corruption to drape down. This shade, one of my most favorite shades from Pat's portfolio of shadows. It's just gorgeous. Galactic Gold from Galactic Gold. On the inner corner, over Dragonfly and just pulling in towards Corruption. So you see we got some fallout here. I'm not sure if you can detect that on camera. Again, some of these shades have texture to them, so I would highly recommend, especially if you feel strongly about it, to do your eye makeup first. But you're gonna get a little bit of trail here, and if you're okay with that, then you can do your eye makeup after you've applied your foundation. More Venetian Orchid on the edges here. I like that. That's very pretty. Now what are we gonna do on this eye? I actually want to maybe do Major Mahogany as a liner, like a shadow wing liner. You know what? I'm gonna do Violet Void on the lid. I'm doing it, I'm going for it. It has just beautiful pink sparkle. Is such a unique shade. And now Smoked Amethyst from the Dark Galaxy side. This is my Tuckahoe T7 eyeshadow brush, and Smoked Amethyst has a little more depth to it, but when paired with Violet Void, I think is so harmonious. Using that to pull the color through the crease. We're getting smoky already, fam. We're gonna smoke it. Cosmic from Dark Galaxy over both Violet Void and a little bit of Smoked Amethyst. Look at that transition from the pink to the Violet Void. Hold on. I don't know if you can see that, but look at the twinkle from the pink sparkle. This side with Dragonfly, look how shiny the inside of my eye is. That is absolutely, and look at the orange sheen from Corruption. I'm telling you. On the lower lash line, however, and we haven't finished with the edges of both these violet purple shades, we could go in with Venomous Void, that magenta matte, Major Mahogany, which will, I think, neutralize it a little bit. But I do want to go in with Venetian Orchid again. I think this is so well thought out that this tone of a matte is in here because it goes with a lot of the shades, the purpley shades in this palette, where Major Mahogany you compare with the more bronzy red tones like Saturnalia, Bronze Nebula, and Corruption, even Megabyte. So with that said, Sonergy, crease 2, with Venetian Orchid on the edges of Smoked Amethyst, just to blend that out. And maybe I'll make this a little rounder. Knowing me, I'll pull it out into a point, just so predictable. And then a little bit of Smoked Amethyst here with the same crease 2. Just a little bloop. That's it. We got a little Smoked Amethyst on the cheekbones, but you know, it because of the matte base and those shimmers in the formula, it tends to be a little drier. Question is now, fam, what shall we put on the lower lash line? I think I want to go Electron. That's what I'm feeling like. This shade here from the Galactic Gold side. With my Sonergy Soft Shader, which is like dyed blue. Oh my gosh, my poor little brush it's been traumatized. This is a shimmer duochrome shade, so it doesn't have as much texture as like the Megabytes and the Lunar Champagnes of the palette. I do want to go in with a little bit of Odyssey. Let me choose a smaller brush just to control the placement. Odyssey is that just shiny, high metallic orchid shade from the Dark Galaxy side. I'm pulling it on the outer parts of my lower lash line. I did mention that I wanted to go in with Major Mahogany on the lash line, but I think because Violet Void is so deep on its own, it won't be detectable. But I could try. I'm putting Major... Oh, well that just looks... That brought in an interesting contrast. You know, we could have something. The purple backdrop with the warm matte wing going on here. I wasn't expecting it to look like that, but that's Major Mahogany has some, the fact that it's showing up like it is over the purple shades, that's not bad. I think it's an interesting color choice, Alicia, but you know, you never know until you do. A little bit of smirked amethyst, tapping it here. Make sure we get that color impact. Smaller brush with Venetian Orchid on the inner part here. Just to see that, we gotta smooth that out. And now what shall we do on the inner part of this eye? I think we should go in with Dragonfly. I think that is such an interesting placement. That green duochrome nudged here with Electron, please. What a lovely gradient. I think that's great. And of course, Lunar Champagne on the inner corner, pulling it over Dragonfly, draping it over, because we had Cosmic. Did we have Cosmic? I'm gonna put a little more Cosmic here so you could see better the pink to violet transition and the way Cosmic just flutters over Violet Void and enhances that pink shift. It's just beautiful. We got some casualties here. When that happens and you have your backup makeup cotton pad that you use to take off your eye looks if you're doing a multi-look videos, I'm just carefully cleaning up here and I'll apply more concealer. I'm using my Suku Intense Cover Concealer. This is in shade 15. Let me carefully blend that in and around and also under our shadow. Ooh, yes, I like what's happening. I'm gonna leave my under eyes unset, especially this part, because Lunar Champagne as a highlight, I don't know if you, well, you know what? We're gonna do the flashlight dance. It might be hard to see the twinkle, but it looks beautiful when placed on the cheekbones, which is what I'm exactly going to do. Not only that, but take Venetian on the cheeks because I think it's such a beautiful shade. And I have so many cheek brushes, fam, that easy to get any brush into that little pan for sure. Going in with my Tuckahoe RC2 brush, which fits perfectly into that pan. I'm gonna whisk that on the cheeks, and this rose shade with what's going on the eyes is just perfect. I think it just gives the face beautiful flush. And as promised, I'll take an even smaller brush and place Lunar Champagne on the cheekbones. It has a lot of texture. Look at this. It has a lot of texture, so either set first or don't set your concealer because you really need to work it into the skin. You have to buff it in, and also you kind of have to let it sit because it just further melts into the skin as time passes and it leaves behind just beautiful, try that again, beautiful reflectivity. So if you're not into these types of shades on your cheeks, then I would totally skip this step. But if you want to take full advantage of what this palette has to offer, then I highly encourage it. You could even put Galactic Gold on your cheeks. Dare I say, I'm going in with Cosmic, the pink. You could put a little bit of Cosmic here lower on the cheeks, and boy oh boy, is definitely going to leave behind a little something. But that's so pretty though. Go in with some setting spray, and then I'll use my finger to just press those textures further into the skin. And look how beautiful Lunar Champagne looks with Cosmic on the cheeks. Like, are you, I mean, I know it's hard to see with the light, with the camera in front of the window, but I just had to. All right, fam, I'm gonna slap on some lashes and I'll be right back. All right, we have the Ardell Naked Lashes in style 421. Here's a close-up of the eyes We got a hodgepodge of shades here, fam, from Celestial Divinity. But I hope you can kind of see that Major Mahogany Smoke liner. I think is a beautiful contrast against the violet backdrop, don't you think? Here's a wide shot of both eye looks. On the lips, I have Pat McGrath's Permagel liner in Structure with Lisa Eldridge True Velvet Matte color in Velvet Fawn, as well as Lunar Champagne and Cosmic on the cheekbones and cheeks. I really love how this look came together. When you look at this palette in terms of the curation, it is very smoky. The first look I started the video with, I wanted to introduce as a daily option. I feel if you could go in with Megabyte on the lid and very lightly with Major Mahogany, the fluffier the brush, the lighter the application, and you can create that soft diffusement of color without it looking too smoky. But of course, if you want to build that intensity, then you'll go in with more of that matte. I think the shade pairs so well with all the magenta, fuchsia, purple, violet hues in here. And then you could use Major Mahogany again for the warmer shades that are here in the palette. I think Pat had this in mind even with the introduction of Star Wars. She of course did it with the franchise and did the two separate palettes. But I love now that they're in here together with the new shades. People feel how they feel, and I understand their frustrations. This is more so for the buyer who did not have an opportunity to grab these Star Wars palettes and they're really upset about it. I think Pat McGrath and her team received an avalanche of feedback in regards to the Star Wars colors and bringing them back. So perhaps she could not bring them back in this packaging, maybe because of terms and conditions with the Star Wars contract or however that goes, but she introduced them here in a smaller cardboard palette that I feel is a little more accessible, a little more approachable than her typical black lacquer design that is presented with her 10 pen mothership format. This is something I would rather, look, ribbons broke, it's too rough with it. This is something I would rather travel with than the black lacquer design. It's slimmer, it's flatter, it has 18 shades, and you just have, I mean, the possibilities are endless for the number of combinations you can create. And I tried to create 2 new looks for this video. We have the 2 looks I did in my live. I'll try to do another look for the swatch video, and I'll be more than happy to come on here again and do more looks using this palette, because if $78 is still very expensive for you, for a Pat buyer, it appears cheaper because her 10 pen palettes retail for $125. You're getting 18 shades for $78, and for Pat McGrath, that is a great buy. But if that still is expensive for you, I still want to produce content that will encourage you to use this palette. But again, if you choose not to buy it for whatever reasons you have, maybe you have similar shades in your collection, and hopefully this video or others that I film using this palette will inspire you to dive into those shades. And that is it. I hope this was helpful. If you picked up Celestial Divinity, if you're thinking about it, if you're not thinking about it, let me know down below. As soon as the quads become released, I would love to grab them. I'll grab all 3 quads as well as her new highlighter. I'm not too sure about the lipsticks because I want to get the Lisa Eldridge lipstick, so I'm saving for that. Let me know what you plan on grabbing from Pat McGrath's holiday collection, and until then, fam, that is alright. Thank you all so much for watching. I hope this video helped, and if you like this video, please give it a thumbs up and maybe consider subscribing to my channel. And until then, I'll see you on here again with another review, tutorial, Celestial Divinity Mothership mega video, monthly favorites or nightly live chit chat. Take care, and I will see you again soon.